What up, everyone? It's your boy KP with Let's Talk Movies, and today I'm bringing you another breakdown of AMC's Interview with the Vampire. So in today's video, I want us to talk about how Lestat turned Louis into a vampire. For me, I feel that Lestat took advantage of Louis. I know some of you may gonna be like, oh, what is he talking about? But guys, let's look at the whole process where it took for Lestat to turn Louis into a vampire. I feel like Louis was going through a lot at that moment, right? Louis has lost his brother. His brother has died. The death was so gruesome that he was already traumatized by that. That is one. And then with even his brother dying, his mom is already blaming Louis that, oh, Louis is the cause of his brother's death. And then what did Louis do to his brother? Blah, blah, blah. And then all that. That is also true. Then even with all the death that was going on to getting rejected by his mom, even let's look at the part where they were at the funeral where he wanted to escort his mom to the house where the mom said no and everything. And then usually when he's going through all these troubles, the person that he will usually go to go talk to Miss Lily. Louis also finds out that Miss Lily is also dead, which I mean, he already knew that Lestat was the one that did it. So to me, I feel like Louis was going through a lot of emotions at that time. What do you guys think about that? Louis was not in the right mind space to agree or even be like, okay, let's turn me into a vampire and all that. And then even with not just the right mind space and all that too, let's also look at Louis not even knowing more about being a vampire. With the whole episode, he was asking Lestat how he was doing everything. What were you doing? How were you able to do that? How were you able to stop time? How were you able to talk to me telepathically? Right? And then Lestat never told Louis how he was doing that. So I feel like Louis didn't know that even vampires existed. So if Louis didn't know, I feel like Lestat should have given Louis maybe Vampire 101, some course about what if it takes to be a vampire, the whole process, living as a vampire, because Louis didn't know. Louis didn't know what he was going into. One scenario, Louis was not in the right headspace. The man was going through a lot. He was thinking about so many things, the whole family problems, his brother dying and everything. And at the same time too, Lestat is making a huge life decision for Louis by turning him into a vampire when Louis really does not even know what he was getting himself into. Which makes me feel that Lestat took advantage of Louis. And then with him taking advantage of Louis, guys, if you are being real, if Louis calms down and then emotions are down and then everything, I feel like Louis is going to end up really hating Lestat. He's gonna really hate Lestat for that because he was not in the right headspace. There was a lot of emotions that was going on with Louis. There was a lot of emotions. Also, Lestat didn't really give Louis a lot of details about what it takes to be a vampire. So if everything calms down, number one, I feel like Louis is gonna be really angry with Lestat. He's gonna really despise him. Although yes, we understand that he loved Lestat, and I'm really hoping that at the end of the day, love will trump everything. But I feel like it's gonna take a lot of time for Louis to get comfortable with being himself and also being able to love Lestat also, because he's going to really, really hate Lestat for what he has done. He's going to blame Lestat for turning him into a vampire, especially when everything has calmed down, when the storm is all down. Because right now there's a lot of emotions boiling up. I feel like when everything calms down and everything is calm and then Louis is back to his normal self. I'm not saying that maybe Lestat did something with his brain or everything, but there was a lot of emotions that Louis was going through in episode 1 that I feel like Lestat took advantage of that, because he knew, damn, I've gotten this guy and this is rather the best time for me to take advantage of him. What do you guys think? Do you think Lestat took advantage of him? You guys should let me know in the comment section and let's talk about this whole thing, because after watching the episode, I was like, nah, I like everything that is going on, but Lestat is really taking advantage of Louis. And I feel like we need to talk about it. I want you guys to comment down in the comment section. Let's talk about it, and then subscribe to this